Train your eye for better cropping. For great shots is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Now, our topic today, and let me get everything ready for us, is about training your eye to get better shots. Now, why is that important? 1 or 2 shots, no big deal. But if you're dealing with, let's say, 30 or 40 images that you have to edit, and you have to crop each and every one of them, it's going to be very time-consuming, very boring, not to mention the fact it's not helping your photography skills. So what I did for you guys was this. Yesterday, I went out, and this Morgan, one of the models, I worked with her because I wanted to show you just an example on portraits, and then I'll go through the same thing with landscapes and wildlife and so on. But I want to show you a couple things that I did. All right. So here we are with the lovely Morgan. Now, I started out, let me get to it up here. Here we go. I knew that this location right here, it just got done with a major downpour. So I knew that under trees like this, the bokeh is going to be phenomenal because all that water on those trees, look at this. Look how it just adds that beautiful shot to it. And again, these are unedited images straight out of the camera. Very, very little editing has to be involved with this. Now, a couple things to watch for. Train your eye. Look at her hands. The rings. Look at her necklace. Make sure all of that is ready. So you're training your eye to see everything in the shot. So you don't have to go back and re-edit the hands or fix anything like that. Now, what happens? Let's get to the bottom. Here we go. Oh, I love these shots here, but look at this. Look at that right there. That is so distracting. Now, you're thinking, okay, well, big deal. It's just one little shot. Here it is. Ready? Look how it looks without it. Much better, doesn't it? Look how it is with it. That's horrible. Here's the thing. One shot, no big deal. But what if she said to me, hey, Vanelli, could you edit all of these? Yes, that's a pain in the neck. We could do it. Not a problem. But she was here when I was editing. I wanted to show her how quickly I can get these done. These shots here, I knew purposely, because I wanted to do it for education purposes, to have elements in that shot that just wasn't pleasing. Now, for me to get rid of that in camera, I would have just moved over just a little bit to hide this part right here. Just to hide that area here. Now, I know you're thinking, Vanelli, that's just a real quick erase, dodge and burn, whatever. Clone and stamp. Yes, but that's not making you a better photographer, number one. Number two, you have to do that to all those images. And some of them may not come out the same. So it's better to get it done right in camera. All right. So that's her. Notice her hands. Again, here, a lot of times people have a tendency of putting their hands like this or holding it like this. It looks like they lost their fingers. Make sure the hands are sitting. Now, the other thing I did, and look how slender she is. It looks like she's leaning up against that wall, but she's barely touching it. Here, let me get to the top one. I had her press really, really, really tight right here, just to show you. Look at this. That's not flattering. So that shot right here, but by having her move away, where are we? From the shot right here, by having her move away just a little bit, and by having her lightly touch her shoulder onto the side, you'll get better shots. Now, here's another shot at my sister Maria with her boyfriend. Now, ready? Look at the claw. Right here. That's something so many people do on a regular basis. when you're posing with groups like this, try not to have anything extended. So train your eye to look beyond the frame. Now, grant you, that was a cell phone shot. Somebody took that. Yes, it was an easy fix to get rid of it in post. That's only one image, that's fine. But again, what if there were 30 or 40 of these images? Watch for that stuff when you're shooting. Now, let's move on to most of your favorites, and that is landscapes. All right? So here we are. We were in Iceland. Perfect. Let's do the Black Church. All right? So we came up upon this, and before everybody got there, I was kind of scouting out, trying to figure out a really good angle. Look at this. Horrible. Oh, yeah, right here. That's horrible. There's no way I want to edit all of those. Look at this here. So by moving off to the side, but guess what? Look up on top. Look what Vanelli did, and that wasn't because I was teaching it. I missed it. Look at that. Yes, we could use generative fill to replace it. Why should we have to? Because that should have been the angle. Now, here we are. Horrible, horrible. Again, wasn't paying attention. When I finally realized, oh, you messed up. Now we have this, but guess what? People started coming in. Well, what do you do when you get people in your scene like this? You're training your eye. So now I staked out the shot. I got what I wanted. Everything is in the frame that I need. I got the cross. I got a little foreground action. Got it all set. People are in my scene. What do? Guess what? I call them over. Hey, come here, let me show you this. Oh, wow, let me take a picture of you. Now, other people started gathering around, and when they did, I ended up, let's get to it right here. Yep, I got them out of the shot, and here we are. Now, I purposely had to shoot wide here because of all the people that were around. If nobody was there, the cropping for this, let's look at the crop. The proper cropping, well, let's do this. I did it right here. All right. I like this crop. Let me go a little bit further. Oh, right here. Well, there we go. There's the crop that I actually liked a lot. All right. So let me get to the original. There he is. So here's the original. And now that's what we're going to end up doing with it. Let me just show you something real quick with this. The easiest way to do this is, I'm going to just real quick auto adjust. Let it handle minor adjustments for me. But I'm going to come down here. Get back to it. I'm going to come down and I'm going to let it help me transform that. Look at that. You see the difference between this and this? What lens was I shooting with? Let's see. I was shooting with a 24. So of course I'm going to get lens distortion with that 24 millimeter lens. That I know is going to happen. I didn't have a tilt shift lens, which I could help, rotate it. But look what I got. I like that shot. I like the way I was able to get it there. And then, of course, my final edit was this image here. Again, that's fine if it's 1 or 2 images. But if I had to do, let's say 30 of these, it was for an ad campaign, let's say for that Black Church, then you're going to make sure that you have a close set, you get the best shot. If you don't, learn to do the best you can. Now, also look for photos inside of a photo. This shot here, it was photographed with a 60 millimeter lens. I needed more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. The rules of odd. I have odd numbers in this. That's great, but you know what? They're too far apart. So I would rather crop it like, let's get back to it. Well, like this. I'd rather crop it like this. Look at the difference between this. Actually, you know what? We'll crop it. Between that shot and the original. There we go. This is what I would have wanted. So how could I have done that in camera? There we go. There, that's the crop I wanted. This is the final. So how could I have done that in camera? Well, 60 millimeter lens or 600 millimeter wasn't long enough. I'd have to get closer to them. Well, I couldn't. They're on a cliff. So that's where a teleconverter would come in. Because if you try to haul a huge lens, climbing up that mountain wouldn't be advisable. So in this case here, that's where the lens with an adapter that'll actually make it twice or 1.5, which is going to give me, what would it be? 600, so another 9, what would it be, like 900 millimeters? It would give me the distance that I needed, all right? So that's where gear comes in handy, all right? But look at the crop. So if I had that, that's the shot I would have wanted to take, all right? Let's go a little bit further down. Oh, go back up again. There we go. Okay, now, here's a shot. I did this for my buddy Bart from TNF Camera. We did a class because he taught people. The workshop was photographing birds on shorelines. Now, this wasn't, she didn't crop it like this, and she didn't take it like this. I'm doing it as an example. Look at this right here. When you're photographing horizons, make sure, she did a good job. I'll reset the crop. There we go. She did a very good job with that. All right. Notice how it's even. This is where you can come in and ask yourself, well, this sky, there's really nothing to that sky. It's not, well, what's it doing for the scene? Not a whole lot. So why is it included? Train your eye for that crop. So in this case, I used composition AI to help me out. And look, sure enough, it put them in the lower third. Great. Well, what if we did this? What if I got rid of that completely? I like the reflection. Let's move that in just a little bit more. Ooh. And remember, we don't want stragglers. In fact, I'll double click so you can see what I mean. This bird here, he's a straggler. You cut him off. So let's include them. There we go. Now we included them. If you were to do this, let's say, look what we did again. We cut off the reflection. All right. Well, make sure when you're done with the crop, look around the edges. Nope, I want this stuff in there. There we go. Now it's looking better. And we have it set from here. So when you're photographing, you look through the viewfinder. Look, you got the shot. Look around the edges to make sure that you're not cutting things off or things are just hanging in there. All right. And let me do one more for you on this. Here's a perfect example. We're going back to the portrait, the bokeh. Look at that. How did I do that? Well, look and train your eye, because if you saw this, you'd say, okay, there's trees there. Your eye doesn't have the bokeh. You're not being able to see deep into it with your lens. Put your lens up. Shooting it at 2.8 with an 85 millimeter lens. Actually, this was shot at 1.4. So I shot that at 1.4, but because it was an 85 millimeter lens, that compression is going to pull that background in tighter. Learn to train your eye to look around and say, oh, it just rained. I bet you that foliage is going to look incredible. And this is great for bird photography too, to where you want to get that bokeh or you want that beautiful geometric patterns. You zoom in. Now, if I were to photograph this with, let's say, a 200 millimeter lens, I could put the f-stop to, let's say, f4 or maybe even 5.6, and I'll still get that bokeh because you're compressing. But you need light in the background. You need the light coming through the trees. That's what's going to give you this beautiful look. All right. Let me just double check to make sure. One last. Oh, this was the other one. Notice her hands. There's Ashley very delicately. Look how she's holding it. Train your eye, because A few of the other ones we had, she's gripping it like this. It ruins the shot. Look while you're photographing and try to get the best shots that you can. All right, and I believe, yep, that was it. Oh, by the way, I'll show you this one of my favorites. Yeah, I just love. I love this. I broke the rules of odd for this. So learn the rules like a pro or like a master so you can break them as an artist. Learn the rules like a master or a pro so you can break them as an artist. Typically, the rules of the odd, however, these three here look really good. This inquisitive look looks like he's telling him a story. He doesn't get it. This guy's cracking up. This guy's looking at me going, another dad joke. All right. So I just like the way all four of these fall in. So just because there's a rule that says, hey, you really should stick with odd numbers in your photo, sometimes you have to learn when to break that rule. This was a great image to do that with. All right. So I hope that helped you guys out to where the next time you're out photographing, crop in camera. Now, I wish my older camera, believe it or not, the DSLR, the Nikon D810, I could set the size of the image to an 8x10, well, 4x5. My new Z6, the Z6 II doesn't do that. I can do 16x9, but I can't do a true 8x10 because if I knew that all my shots were going to be an 8x10, I would set that in my camera. 8x10, so I don't have to crop afterwards, and now I know exactly how I'm filling the frame. If you want it to be a 16x9, you can set it up for 16x9. So I hope those tips helped you guys out there. Now, we have something pretty cool. Like we mentioned before, let me get to our social media. If you don't have our Facebook page, please make sure you sign up for it. Use that link right there. This way you'll be alerted to the coffee break episodes. Here's what I want to start doing also. I want to come up with just education. So to continue education, these are some, let me get back to it. Sorry. There we are. So continuing on with your education, I'm going to try to pick 3 each week. Here's one from Dodge, Burn, and Learn. Dale is one of the helpers here. He's helping me co-host this, where he's helping behind the scenes. He has a great episode that he does on Fridays. Amanda Lusant, Posing Academy, my beautiful, beautiful, incredible goddaughter. She's an international model and posing coach. Absolutely amazing. And a lot of you know Darlene Hildebrandt. She has a new course coming out about Luminar Neo. So take a screenshot of this. Go on with further education, always to help you with your photography training. All right? Well, I hope that helped you. Now, if you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. And if you want to join the segment afterwards, use the Zoom link. Register for it. And then once you register for the Zoom link, I thought I had it right here. Nope, that's fine for now. Register on the Zoom link. That'll give you access to our after coffee break show where you can ask any questions about today's topic or other questions on what's happening in the industry. All right? Well, everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.